It's time to focus on the things you need, the things you deserve. You deserve a healthy body, supplements that get you moving and keep you moving, that make you feel good, look good, do good. And they shouldn't contain GMOs, artificial ingredients, or heavy metals, ever. Supplements that are clinically studied, use proven absorption technologies, are designed by scientists, and are ethically sourced and produced. Supplements with everything you need, nothing you don't. You deserve a company that you can trust, that's dedicated to safe manufacturing practices and third-party testing, that ensures the highest quality of effectiveness from extraction of ingredients all the way to the composition of the packaging. Wait a second. You deserve to see the process. You deserve a company led by a CEO with a deep belief in the power of people, dedicated to inspiring entrepreneurs to achieve success. A company with a phytonutrient chemist and expert on natural molecules who is obsessed with human health and has your best interest in mind to design its products. A board comprised of talented doctors from around the world. You deserve to be surrounded by people you trust and look up to. Empowered ambassadors that inspire wellness every day. Leaders who are rooting for you to be the best version of yourself. A community that works hard and plays hard. You deserve to experience adventures that take you around the world. And you deserve to be recognized for your hard work. It's time to get what you deserve. It's time to shift your focus. 3.
Well, hello and welcome, my friends. My name is Adrianne RUIZ, and I am chiming in from Austin, Texas on July 2nd tonight with you, or morning if you are over in Asia. I want to welcome everybody again, and just if there's anybody that you want them on tonight, your teammates, you're like, hey, we've got something good for you tonight. We are going to be talking about following up as a part of our prospecting process in this industry of network marketing. I have been fortunate enough to be full-time for 16 years in network marketing. And so this, my friends, is one of my favorite topics to touch on because I wasn't so good at it in the beginning. It was actually part of the prospecting process that terrified me. So if that's you or somebody on your team, be like, hey, jump on now. Adrianne's got some good stuff coming for us. Send them the invite link because we are about to get started. So the fortune is in the follow-up, right? How many of you guys have heard that? I know we all have. I've heard it a million times. The fortune is in the follow-up. And why is that really? It's because you have to ask. There's this part of it where you're inviting somebody to take a look at what we're doing. You know, they see that we offer demonstrative products. They see we have an incredible business plan that they can participate in. And our job at following up is to really find out exactly which part of that they're most interested in. And so it is a big deal because when you find out what they're most interested in, you're able to guide them better on the process of getting started and making that transition very smooth. And I'm all about smoothness, right? How many of you guys have ever been, maybe this is a good analogy, maybe it's not, you let me know later. But like, how many of you guys have ever been, you bought a car? And you're like, let's say you're at the Lexus dealership, okay? And you're sitting inside of Lexus and there's all these different Lexuses to choose from. And the salesman's going through all the things with you. And you're just like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed. There are so many different makes. There's so many different models. There's so much going on here. I have a budget, I have a price point, but I have like, I want the tech package. I want it heated seats or cool down seats. Like you know what you want in your head. But what if that salesperson never asked you? They just kept talking and talking and talking about all the different cars that they had, but they never asked you, hey, what are you looking for? Like, how can I help? Like, do you have a need that I can solve? What's your budget? How can we get you the best possible experience here, right? You guys, that's follow-up. That's follow-up. And the fortune is in the follow-up because if you never follow up, you don't build a business at all. You don't have a team to work with, and you've got to have a team to work with the network marketing to be successful. So we're going to give you a few little tips. And the reason I wanted to give you a few little tips so you guys could have an opportunity to take notes if this is important to you, which it is, because we just said the fortune is in the follow-up. So we don't want to leave this step out of the building process just based on fear of rejection. And you can, I always say when I'm training my team, I say, raise your hand, but you can't raise your hand on this webinar, but maybe you can raise your hand at home and just like acknowledge, right? If this is something that sometimes is kind of scary for you, you don't want to be told no, right? But I really believe that the second best answer that you can get is a no, because at least you know where you stand so that you can move forward, right? So the second best answer you can get is a no. And as you follow up with your prospects, you can learn where they are in the opportunity, right? You'll be able to guide them better through that, just like the car salesman who's going to ask, what is it that you're looking for? How can I help? How can I serve you best, right? Or you're either going to gain a customer, or you're going to get a partner, or you're going to get nothing at all. Because if you fail to follow up, then truly, my friends, you have wasted all the other steps in the process of growing your business. So we are going to dive in so that you do not waste any steps in the process of growing your business. You guys create raving fans of 3. Of course, the goal is to be able to create raving fans, right? It's to build out an incredible organization and business that loves the products, that's excited and happy to be partnered with you and the company, and that they want to be a brand ambassador of 3. They want to wear that shirt, right? What is it? Something, I was about to wave my flag. You're waving the 3 flag, right? And you want to create raving fans so that they can wave the 3 flag, and we can develop an incredible company that really truly becomes a household name. So let's hone in on this. Grab a pen, a piece of paper, write some of this down, take snapshots if you need to. We are really diving into the follow-up. There are there's 2 most important things about follow-up. The first one is your posture. So your posture is your tenacity, your grit, your belief in yourself, your belief in the company, your why. Like, why did you say yes to this in the first place, right? And your tribe, it's your team, it's how you're building, it's the culture that you're creating together. So your posture is key. And I'm going to go back to the car salesman for a minute. Hopefully you don't hate car salesmen. I don't have a problem with it, but I've had the good and the bad, right? So it just depends on how you view anything in life. So if we look at the good would be that great car salesman would tell me why this car is perfect for me. What happened when he test drove it, why it was so exciting, why he said yes to working for Lexus in the first place, right? Whatever his story is. That's you. You're coming in and you're sharing like, hey, look, I tried these products. They did wonders for my daily wellness. I'm able to really feel great on a regular basis now, like I never have before. And I really believe that if you were to take a look at these and get excited, you could have that same opportunity to feel really great every day instead of just some of the days. You could have more energy, right? You're going to talk about the benefits, all of that. But you're posturing yourself, because if they came back to you and were like, well, why are you doing this? And you don't have an answer for that, you're gonna waffle, right? You're gonna waffle a little bit. So it's so important that you really share your why. And this is key, because this is where the heart comes in, right? There's a difference when you buy into 3 and you're using the products and you've been to a few events, versus when 3 gets into you and you can't stop talking about it, because it's what it's done for you and your family and what you see happening in the future with 3. So that's a big difference too, right? It's like, what you bring to the table. You're not afraid to eat alone. And I love that analogy, because what if like you're sitting at this table and you're sharing with other people, but you're not really doing it from a place of like, I know what I have. I'm so excited about this. You can have a great experience too. Instead, you're kind of like, maybe your voice is really high and you're really nervous. And you're like, if somebody were to ask you why you're doing this, you'd be like, you want to be able to say, I'm doing this, I'm sharing this with other people because I believe that together we can earn a fortune. I believe that together that we can make anything happen, that we're going to build out an incredible global business, right? I believe in our products. I believe if you put them in your body, you're going to have better overall wellness. So that's like, you're not afraid to eat alone. Those things are just going to start coming out of your mouth because of what your true belief is. And if you don't have that like solid why, that solid vision of yet of why you're doing it, then just tell them that. Just be like, I got on board because of the product. Okay, nothing wrong with that, right? You're speaking your truth. You're speaking your why. You're saying, I'm sharing it with you because I think it will help. That's perfect, right? Just do it with conviction, do it with grit, do it with tenacity. All of your income is on the other side of the table, right? So it's on the other side of doing whatever it takes to make sure that you're following up appropriate. In other words, you're following up consistently and appropriately, and you're doing it with posture. And that's how you eat. That's how you get to eat at the table. So that's part of that. That was the second piece. Now we're going to talk about the second part, which is your pipeline. If you're brand new in three, never done network marketing before in your entire life, and you're like, what is she talking about? It's that in the WOW workbook, the welcome orientation workbook that the company has, it talks about making a list of people who you know who are like kind and they're business minded and they're go-getters, and you're making this list. That's going to be your pipeline, because your paycheck is directly related to the amount of shares you do each week, right? So how many times have you shared the 3 story today, right? How many times are you going to share the 3 story tomorrow? And your role in that. And that's filling your pipeline, because you have more people to follow up. The more tools they've seen, the more information they've seen, the more presentations they've been to, right? You can do an amazing presentation, but you've got to follow up. If you don't follow up and ask anyone, they won't sign up, right? So as you're calling people to say, hey, are you serious about getting started? You're truly filling that pipeline of, customers, partners, and still prospects, people who are, not no for now. Nobody really ever says no to me. This is not on the slide, but I just want you to know it says only about 1 out of 5 people enroll after their first exposure. But I have very few people who say no to me, or at least that's not how I perceive it. I'm always looking at it as KNOW. You don't know enough to say no to me. So if they're not ready, we just move through that and we continue to follow up with pieces of information. So when we talk about pipeline and posture, now we're going to talk about the actual art of following up. So making sure that this happens during the presentation. So if you're sitting in a room with somebody and there's this incredible speaker up front sharing the products, you might want to just side eye them and see which one makes their eyes perk up a little bit, right? Which product are they going, oh, wait, what was that called? Or what was this? Or what was that main ingredient? Or, that kind of stuff. You want to just kind of follow that lead during that moment. If it's online, if it's over Zoom, you may want to text them and be like, isn't this speaker phenomenal? Like, you're just opening the line of communication while they're receiving that information. And you want to ask them open-ended questions. What did you like the most? You want to expect objections. You want to pique their interest further with additional information. You always want to continue to get permission to follow up, and you're going to track the process. So when we talk about asking open-ended questions, what do I mean? What was your favorite part? What intrigued you the most? Can you see the value of blank? Isn't it reassuring to know? Is there any reason why you wouldn't want to get started today? What questions do you have for me? Do you feel like you have enough information to get started today? If so, which pack would best fit your budget or your needs, right? So those are all open-ended questions, and those can happen during a Monday Global Op. Somebody's on there presenting. You might want to say to them, oh my goodness, isn't Samson great? Oh my gosh, he's doing such a good job tonight. I love that he just said this, and then let them see. So it's happening. It's all happening at the same time. You don't want to wait till the very end. Although if you do wait till the very end, that's okay too. There's never a bad time to start following up and asking those open-ended questions. So if we dive into during the presentation, usually I like to ask call to action questions. Hey, where do you see yourself in all of this? Right? Hey, do you think you'd want to make a one-time retail purchase and pay full price? Or do you think you'd be more of a preferred customer? Hey, do you feel like you need more information on the business? Right? I feel like you might want more information on the business from a business perspective. So you can start asking those types of call to action questions, like I would say 10 minutes before the presentation ends. If it's live in person, you don't want to be disruptive, so you could wait till the end. But this is a really good slide to take a picture of, because you want to have those in your tool belt. And then you're going to expect objections, right? Like, it's going to happen. Objections are simply questions. I ask questions all the time. Again, if I'm sitting at the Lexus dealership and I have questions, right, I'm going to ask him those questions. Hey, by the way, does this car have this? How many miles is on this? What color is that? What kind of leather, right? They're going to ask questions and you wouldn't think it's weird, right? You would be like, oh, okay. And if you didn't know something, what would you do? You'd say, you know what? Let me go ask. Let me go ask. So same thing here, right? You might get some questions like, aren't all supplements alike? Right? I get all my nutrients from my food. I hear that a lot of times. Why do I need to supplement my diet? Is this a pyramid scheme? Oh my goodness, that's probably one of my favorite ones. Maybe it's I need to do some research. I need to think about it. That's okay. Which part do you need more information on? Right? So you want to feel, felt, found for every question, especially if you're brand new. Look, I know how you feel. I felt the same way. Actually, I asked if this was a pyramid scheme too when I first started. But what I found is that it's actually just a great way to share something that you love and earn additional commissions. What's not to love about getting rebates, right? What's not to love about getting your products paid for? If you can, you would. Right? If you ever just saw fit that you loved, you had a great product experience and you shared that with somebody else, the company would reward you for that if they ordered, right? It's just little things like that. So you might want to say something like this. Oh, amazing. I would love to get you started with some of the stuff that I looked at because I know how you feel. I felt the same way. Let me get you some additional information on the products. I can send you a PDF or a video by Dr. Dan on all the products or, things like that. So you get really good at overcoming objections by actually following up and doing it. So I have like we have this overcoming objections sheet that I used to really push hard within our organization. But then I realized that the most experience came from them just actually doing it, right? From calling and having those experiences and having real people ask real questions. You can't prepare enough, but what you can do is you can just say, I know how you feel. Let me call my upline leader and I'll get those questions answered for you, especially if you're brand new. So it's always a good idea to follow up with an upline leader because it just makes things much more smooth. You could do that in a three-way text or a three-way messenger, or you could do it in a three-way call, right? So, or a three-way Zoom. Just bring somebody on who's more experienced than you when you first get started. And truly, this was the key to my success when I first started is I didn't know all the answers. So I became a really good appointment setter and I would set appointments and I would follow up with an upline leader on the phone to help me answer those questions. And truly, that's how I learned. So I just became a really great appointment setter. So key tip there, if you want to really learn follow-up, make sure you schedule those follow-ups with somebody who's been doing this a little bit longer than you. Okay, so how do we continue to pique further interest? Like, let's say they're like, I'd like some additional information. All right, we're going to send links. We're going to send product videos. We're going to send the business plan. Again, we're going to invite them to a Zoom or we're going to invite them to a local event. And we have a saying in this industry, we always say the next event is the best event. So if you've got a pipeline of people who have taken a look at one piece of information or two or three and they still haven't enrolled yet, what are you going to do? You're going to invite them to, Wellness Wednesday. Hey, I don't know if you saw this yet. We have this incredible speaker coming on. I'd love for you to check it out. Here's a link, right? If I sent you a link, would you take a look? Would be a good option too to get a commitment out of them. If I would, you. Also, the next one coming up next week, we have Zoom calls, so many Zoom calls through the week, my friends, that there is always something to help pique somebody's interest further. Also, this is the art of leadership, truly, right here in the art of the follow-up is I would say good leaders follow up pretty consistently. Great leaders follow up all the time with the intent to educate. So what do I mean by that? What I mean is we're constantly sending out pieces of information that we go, hey, remember when you said this? I think this might be of interest to you. Or, hey, you know how you're a chiropractor? I've got a chiropractor who just, did a little snippet on 3. I'd love for you to listen to it. So we're always finding creative ways to follow up. They may have never seen what Eternal is. And you're like, I don't know if you missed this, but we have this incredible product. I think you should check it out. I think you might find a lot of value in this. Let me send you a quick link. So we're always great leaders are always finding creative ways to follow up. And they're constantly going through that pipeline. I had my first mentor in business who, was amazing and incredible and was a 6-figure month earner, used to say to me, I remove them from the list when they expire. So they always stay on the list. And he said, I create really great connections and friendships. And that is what this is, you guys, my friends. We are in the relationship business. I cannot stress it enough when you're continuously following up that you're doing it with kindness and love. And it always starts with a, hey friend, how are you? I was just thinking about you. Hope all is well. That it's a part of your verbiage and your process and your lingo, because you're inviting people into your life. You're inviting people, you're connecting them to you. You're developing that relationship. You're not just sending informational links, right? Yes, we educate, they decide, we support those decisions. But at the same time, you're gaining a partner, you're gaining a friend. Your goal is to create raving fans around all of it. All right. So how about we get permission to follow up? And this is something too that can be overlooked. If you're afraid that you're going to be bothering people, if you worry that you could be too pushy by being consistent, fear not, okay? Because what you're going to do is you're going to get permission to follow up. And this is one thing we teach all of our teammates, is that it's important to let them know that you're going to continuously be reconnecting with them. Should they come back and say, stop, leave me alone, don't do this anymore, I've done something maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe I blasted too many blanketed, text messages, and I haven't connected with that person. Think about how you would want to be treated, right? You guys have probably already read this script as I'm chatting, but think about how you would want to be followed up with. Right? Would you want just to feel like you're being spammed with continual invites, or would you want that person to actually check in with you and see how you're doing in your life? I think you'd prefer the latter. So we do it with great heart, right? Great passion. And that's really where the consistency comes in, is because you never know what somebody's timing is, right? So you get permission. So you could say something like this: great, I will send you some information that I keep handy for, research to get back with you or is it okay if I get back with you tomorrow? Is that okay? Did I read that right? I need my glasses on. I don't have them. Okay. So when is a good time to reconnect with you? Right? I would love to get you on the phone with, Rebecca or Rachel or Samson or Kim. When is a good time? Hey, Kelly, I know we talked a while back and you seem interested, but do you still want me to send you information about specials in the company? Or do you want me to not send you stuff anymore? Right? So you may say something like that. Like if it's been a while and it's like crickets, right? We all get, sometimes we get what people in my team call ghosted, but really it's just people being busy. I want you to think about how busy you are. And the squeaky oil gets the wheel. So the more consistent you are, the more they know they can trust you. So interestingly enough, I remember doing a poll in my organization. And I said, if I were to follow up with you once and never call you back again, what would you think? And they were like, I would think that you weren't serious. If I were to call you 3 times and you still didn't say yes yet, and I stopped calling, what would you think? Well, I would think you gave it a good shot. If I were to call you 5 times and you still said no, what would you think about me? I would think you were serious. I would think you cared. And I would see that when I was ready, I could count on you. Right? Do you feel the difference? So that's you being consistent with follow-up, not pushy, but consistent. Okay, so then we want to track the process. So it's this, right? Zig Ziglar says, I don't care how much power, brilliance you have, if you don't harness it and focus on it, focus on a specific target and hold it there, you're never going to accomplish as much as your ability warrants. So we want to track the process. You want to print out that WOW book, the Welcome Orientation Workbook. Thank you. My head, a Welcome Orientation Workbook. And you want to have that in front of you. You want to have your names list in front of you, and you want to be a good note taker, right? Do you remember, okay, this is going to age me a bit, but do you remember when you had the big Rolodexes with contacts in it? And we used to always say the person with the biggest Rolodex wins. Well, my Rolodex had notes. Like I had 13 by 9 cards, name, where did I meet them, color of their hair, how many kids do they have, what did we talk about last? How good are you about tracking your process, tracking your names list? Some of you guys might have made a list and you somehow misplaced it, or it got thrown away and you can't find it, and it's July and you're busy and people are going on vacations and you're like, I know I'm supposed to be working, but I just can't think of who to call. I can't remember who I reached out to. Okay, if you're feeling that way, I'm just being real with some of you guys, this happens. You want to just start fresh. You want to pull out the WOW workbook. You want to rewrite those names, 10 in each category. Who's kind, who is business minded, who's into health and wellness, all that, and just make yourself a new list and start fresh, and then track that list. Be really good about it. It's like expecting to be like a 4-star in the company when you're not even qualified, like you're not even consistently qualified. Like, you can't have those expectations unless you put the work in, right? It's like going to the gym once and expecting to look like a Greek god or something. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, you've got to track that process. And I promise you, if you get in a little competition with yourself, have I done 2 follow-ups today? Right? Have I shared the presentation with 2 people today? Have I followed up with 2 people today? Have I helped my team follow up with 2 people today? And when you can start tracking that consistently, you'll know, because your paychecks will reflect that, right? So we get paid based on the amount of times we've shared the 3 story in a day, how many people we enroll, how many people our team enrolls. So you guys get really good about that. And I really do believe that when you're writing some of this stuff down, there's just this like brain heart connection that happens. And all of a sudden, it's like all the right people for your business show up. All the right people for your product show up. Every time you look at your list and you go, okay, I'm going to start dialing, and you start calling people, always the right people answer the phone. So I like physical handwritten lists. If you are like a spreadsheet girl and that works for you, phenomenal. If you are just using like your app on the 3 app, that's great. You can see your hot leads. If you're using even Facebook Messenger to go, who did I last message, right? Or Instagram Messenger, who did I last message? And you're going in and you're following up, great. I just personally really like to have that handwritten connection. So, okay, my friends, the fortune is definitely in the follow-up, and I'm going to give you some statistics. So this is important for my logical my logical brain here. I am very red personality. So I love giving some statistics out, and that is this. So when we talk about follow-up, I want you to put this to heart, put it up somewhere in your office, right? When you follow up, 48% of the people, 48% of people, you and I, never will follow up with a prospect. There will be people who slip through the cracks, right? Especially when we're not watching. 25% of people make a second contact and then stop. 10% of people make more than 3 contacts. But the other part of this is that 2% of sales are made on the first contact. That's pretty little. 3% are made on the second, 5% on the third, and 10% of sales are made on the 4th contact. So if we were to go down here, 80% of sales are made on the 5th to the 12th contact. So should you let the highs get really high and the lows get really low in this business? It's unnecessary, because you can track. How many times did I call Becky? Once, twice, 3 times? She told me no, or she told me no, not for now, or I'm too busy, or I don't have the money, or I don't have the time, or I'm working this, or I've got this, I've got summer camp, I've got blah, 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 right? And we get in our, oh, this doesn't work, right? Or I can't believe it. I've been told no 5 times this week. Somebody even yelled at me. That's never happened to me, but I'm just saying it's a timing thing. And so you want to really pace yourself and be consistent, because you will find that what will happen is your business will existentially grow the more consistent you are with your follow-ups. If you make that big names list, not if, when you make that big names list, I want you to circle the top 10 people on that list that you believe will make a difference in 3. Because again, this is not about you. Follow-up is not about you. It's not about you at all. It's about them. It's about what can we do for them? What service am I providing? I'm providing better health. I'm providing ways to earn additional income online. I'm providing, that they can do it globally, that they're not limited to their brick and mortar if they're a business owner. I'm providing a retirement opportunity, right? A way for them to be able to earn something on the side that allows them to be able to work less at their other job, right? Should they get excited? So really, the most important thing you can do, and any part of the process of this, right, is going to be making sure you're consistent, that you don't give up after the 3rd, the 4th, or the 5th. In fact, give it to the 12th. Give it to the 12th. You might follow up with them once a month for a year, and all of a sudden, boom, they're ready. And I have a quick story for you. This is funny. I'm not the best at social media. I'm really not. There are so many other leaders in the company that are like phenomenal at social media. I just stay consistent. I try to do at least one post a day, whether it's a positive post, something like that. Okay. I get a little inbox. I posted this image of George and I talked about like who we were, what we've done, just kind of like a reintroduction to George and I. And all of a sudden my inbox got flooded. And I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't had this much online traction in a while. What did I do differently? A, I was more intentional about my words, but B, the most interesting thing to me is a girl that I had contacted at the very start of 3 wanted nothing to do with 3. Guess who's ready to start 3? Yeah. So you just never know, right? You never know. Be consistent at something. Be consistent with putting yourself out there. Be consistent with following up with your list. Be consistent with adding to your pipeline, because your names list, it doesn't just go away. It's a living list. If somebody says no to me, guess what? I just roll them to the bottom of the list. I'll call them in 2 weeks from now, right? So you guys get really good at follow up. I promise you it's going to be the piece. If you're wondering, hey, how come I'm not where I want to be yet? It's probably the skill that you need to work on. And my goodness, thank goodness it's a skill, because it's kind of like trying to lift up a big 50-pound weight at first. The phone feels like it's 50 pounds. How am I going to call 5 people today and ask them what they thought about 3? Be really light, easy breezy about it. Follow the scripts, you guys. If you're just getting started, do it with an upline leader, but whatever you do, don't miss it, because you don't want to lose out, right? You don't want to miss out. And what's the thought that, oh my gosh, what if you didn't follow up and somebody else reached out to them and they enrolled under somebody else's team and they could have been on yours, right? No competition or anything, but it would be fun if you did consistent follow-up and you didn't ever have to think about that thought. Let's get that out of our head, because we're going to be consistently following up. All right, my friends, we are going to be following up. Okay, as we follow up, what is the purpose of follow-up? Is it to just tell good stories? That's part of it, right? Is it to just say hi and see how they're doing? Well, that's part of it, right? No, it's to enroll them. It's to get them started. So when I'm on that phone call, I'm always thinking in the back of my head as I help answer their questions, I'm pausing after each question, right? I'm not just going, let me tell you all the, product facts on Vitality. No, I'm going, hey, so which pack, I send them over an enrollment form. Which pack do you think best fits your budget? Which one do you want to do? Oh, you want to try all the products? Okay, I recommend the premium pack at a minimum. If you're budget conscious and that's something you're worried about, let's start with a premium pack. You get to try all the products. Yes, you're making an investment in your health, but you're going to have a great experience. And isn't that the point, is to see a result? Let's start with that pack, right? Help them place that first order. Yes, you can send them a link and they can automate that. I like to help them place the first order. And then I like to introduce them to my sponsor or somebody in my team. So I would introduce them to somebody and welcome them to the team. And then based on their goals, if they're a great customer, I'm going to let them be a great customer. I'm going to follow up with them even after that part, right? If they are going to get started in the business, I'm going to send them a WOW workbook and we're going to go through that together. And guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to help them start connecting with their names. And that is this whole process. I love the follow-up piece. It's one of my favorites because yes, the fortune is in the follow-up, but follow-up is like the bow. It's the shiny bow on top of the whole package, right? It makes all the things happen. It really does. We've got connecting and we've got connecting/inviting, presenting, and following up. And those are the 3 pieces of this entire business. If you can imagine, there's not much more than that, right? So you're just honing those skills over and over and over again. The more you do, the better you get at it, right? That 50-pound weight is going to feel like a 25-pound weight. And then it's going to go from a 25-pound weight to feeling like a 10-pound, and then from a 10 to a 5. And next thing you know, you're an enrolling machine making money, honey. Okay. That's the whole point. So it's to be able to make money. It's to be able to make this worthwhile. It's to share the mission that we have of 3. It's to be able to help people be happier and healthier, my friends. And that really is all follow-up is. So I want to thank you guys for joining me tonight. I really hope that you took this to heart. I hope you took some good notes. I hope you get 3 in here, not just up here, but in here. And you start sharing with passion and enthusiasm, and you're following up with passion and enthusiasm to be able to really change the world. I know it sounds kind of cheesy, but it's true. We want raving fans. We want to build a household name. We can't do that without follow-up. So make sure that you guys reach out to 2 people that you've connected with previously tonight. Take action on follow-up tonight. Send them a message even to be like, hey, I just wanted to check in with you. It's been a while. How's everything going? Maybe we could chat, this week sometime. Would you have a quick 6 minutes where we could chat? Send out at least 2 of those messages or call 2 people tonight before you go to bed. Okay. And you guys will feel so much better. Your paycheck is directly related to how many times you've shared the 3 story in a day. So let's go get it done together. And my friends, I will see you on the next training call, which tomorrow will be Wellness Wednesday. So thanks so much for joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.